Hey, Maria back with another video. It's 6:21 p.m. It is November 6th. Happy Monday. I'm sure you guys already got your day out of the way and you're probably home, finished eating dinner and just kind of resting up for the rest of the night. But today was just one of those, I would call it a waste of day. Like I got up and I started doing some recording and then I started getting really tired and antsy and edgy, and then I started dealing with issues relating to this whole, I guess, the experiment and how it's played its role out in my life and all the problems that it's caused. And, I mentioned before that I do resent my social media being messed with, mainly because I don't have a desire to return to the workplace. I don't want to go back to a regular job. It causes too much anxiety, too much depression. I had somebody call me today and talk about setting up a job interview, and I'm like, oh my God, it's really important that I get my social media issues taken care of because I need to make a living somehow. And the whole idea of going to a regular 9 to 5 job is just causing me severe depression. I try to be polite on the phone, but I honestly resent getting those phone calls. I hate it. And I know it's like you have to do it because you're on the state, you're getting your unemployment benefits, and you have to sit there and apply for whatever. And, but I'm trying my hardest to be self-sufficient and not have to deal with those jobs anymore. The minute I think about going back to work, I just constantly get depressed. I hate the idea of it. It's just most workplaces are nothing but a place. I mean, just filled with toxicity, and just the fact that I really don't feel enthusiastic about having to intermingle with people on a day-to-day basis for the amount of time that I would have to. None of that appeals to me. I've become more into my own life, and I just rather not deal with having to deal with outside stuff. So today was, negative because last night I went to bed thinking about how angry I am that my social media is always being tampered with. And then the fact that I really don't want to have to go to a job. And then I had this person calling me today for a job interview or possible job interview. Just a whole rigmarole. I really fucking hate talking to these people. And I hate to be, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but I feel like after, almost 30 years of constantly dealing with workplace harassment, and I'm sure she didn't mean anything by it, it's just that this is how much resentment I have for the workplace. This is how much, and I'm doing okay. And then people have to bring up that place that I feel is very dark and it's just a horrible place to be. So I went into one of my modes today, and then I went back to sleep because sometimes when you're just dealing with too much mental overload, your brain doesn't want to deal with it, so it shuts itself down. So you'll start, taking naps more than you should. And I was upset with myself because I had this, I want to finish my gods video, and I only have like I think about 6 more countries to do, 2 gods for each country, right? I didn't realize how many gods there were. There's like so many different gods for so many different cultures. It's ridiculous. Not ridiculous, but it's just like it's really eye-opening. But also, when you're making slides for videos, it can get time-consuming. And generally, I'm very happy to do this, but because I have to work in such a demoralized manner because of the people who constantly stalk me, like I can't see my numbers. You know what I mean? I can't see my numbers. I can't see what I'm doing, and they don't ever take in consideration of the things that I need in order to survive. I don't want to follow into one of their jobs. I don't want to deal with the outside world anymore. You've caused me way too many problems. Okay, but I was thinking about and I'm not trying to be mean, and I certainly do love my celebrity soul tribe. By the way, I want to say hi to all my celebrity friends that, even though I don't get to intermingle with you, and it's unfortunate, but all this ridiculous stuff that keeps all these barriers, like between me and these people that I would like to meet, but anyway, I'm just dealing with a lot of frustration right now because I need to make decisions, and unfortunately, because my social media is always being played with, I can't make decisions. You know what I mean? And I definitely don't have it in me to want to deal with the workplace anymore. It is too uncontrolled. It is too frustrating. I just think I'm starting to think that having a job is nothing but hell. That's how I look at it. To me, the workplace, the workforce is the equivalent of hell. Like I was making a kind of a joke about it. My son was talking about stand-up comedy, and I kept thinking about his skit about how foolish it is when people like talk about how they get a job. It's like, is that's nothing to fucking brag about. That fucking job is the one thing that's fucking killing you, and that's a goddamn fact. Okay, I've never worked in a workplace where people actually had their shit together, and it's always caused me extreme anxiety, depression, insomnia, you name it, everything under the book, I have dealt with it because of my targeting. And I don't want to ever go back to the workplace ever again. Anyway, so my day was blown. I only covered 2. I got to Mesopotamia and I got to the Egyptian culture. And I think I recorded, no, I haven't recorded any information for the gods and goddesses of Egypt. But today just wasn't really a good day. You know what I mean? Because I realize how unfortunate it is and how demoralizing it is. And I feel, because I tried to explain to these people before about my YouTube channel, I basically said to them, hey, you know what? I need to start making some decisions. I need to figure out what I'm going to do. Please don't mess with my social media. What do? They mess with my social media. You know what I mean? And it's like they don't really, whoever is who's like the front runner of this bullshit, they really are complete narcissistic people. Because it's like, you need to think about what I need to do. And also, you know, I can't sit here and like, I don't feel like, you know, you want to feel constantly motivated to constantly do things, and then you look at your numbers and you're trying your best, and you already had to deal with the workplace mob, and you already had to deal with, you know, the infiltration of your privacy. You already had to deal with the campaign smears, and they still want to fuck with you with your numbers and everything else. And it just gets to the point, it's like, you know, I don't like these people. I mean, I love my celebrity, my soul tribe, don't get me wrong, but this whole nature versus nurture thing, I understand it was an experiment, whatever. Whoever was the front runner of this, I'm going to tell you, you know what, I don't know if you have any empathy or any brain in your head. Because honestly, you've tapped a person out, and it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? The need to control is just over the top. I will say, though, I was thinking more about the nature versus nurture thing, okay? I will say that it causes a lot of psychological damage. You know, I did kind of explain about how, you know, there's certain personalities and characteristics and traits that people have that's going to carry over if it's in their DNA, okay? And some things cannot be changed even by influence on the external influence. But what I will say, what this does psychologically, what it does to a person, especially if they're able to figure it out. I was thinking that my family was never going to tell me that I was adopted and that all of this was going on. But when a person finds out, this should be noted, when a person finds out, it changes their complete view of the world. Because at this point, and I'm seriously looking back at my life and I'm thinking, okay, like I mentioned before, like I've never met a decent person. I've never met one that was decent. And probably because they bring people in who are kind of shady anyway, or they're not able to, I don't know. What kind of individuals they actually look for to bring into this thing. Or maybe that just proves that most people aren't decent people. Because, I mean, I seriously did not deal with anybody who was honest or anybody who cared about my well-being in this whole thing. From the very beginning, from the very get-go, from the very start. You know what I mean? Yeah, it affects a person's life. It changes their view, and it makes them not want to trust people. Okay, I'm already angry that these people took up so much of my life. And I'm not trying to ask for any problems. I don't want problems, you know. I basically just want to like live out the rest of my life in peace. And I feel like I deserve that because all I've ever had was interruption, rude people, bullshit, lies thrown in my face, fake family members, jealousy, competitive natures with shit that I have no interest in participating in. None. You know what I mean? It's one thing to observe a person and their behavioral traits, but like to create all this chaos and then like try to prevent them from moving on and finding a decent job and taking care of themselves. And I understand, like I get this feeling that this group that I'm associated with, because I understand this Celebrity Soul Tribe is associated with it, okay? And I appreciate that. Like, it's so cool for me to know that Ringo Starr's watched my video. That's fucking awesome, right? But, you know, on the other hand, it's kind of like, well, okay, I need to make a living. I need to make a living, and I need to see the results of that. I need to know if I, you know, what kind of impact I need to make. I mean, and they have me blocked off. My Facebook's blocked off. This is blocked off, and it's all because I'm supposed to be entertaining this one particular group, and I'm not able to do anything else on my own. And then how does that make me feel? Does it make me want to finish my videos? Of course I want to finish my videos. It's important for me, especially at this point in my life. But you guys don't understand what that does to a person. Like, people need to feel motivated. And it's not fair for a person to have to work in such a demoralized manner. It just isn't. You know what I mean? But back to, sorry, I don't mean to complain, because like I said, you know, like I'm talking about certain people in this group that I absolutely adore. Like, I absolutely adore Stevie Nicks. I adore Paul McCartney. I adore, you know, Ringo Starr. I love all the people that I mentioned in my videos, all my shout outs and everything. I do, okay? It's nothing like that. It's just, I'm just basically addressing my frustration of, you know, how this whole experiment, and I'm grateful to it. It's like a bittersweet situation, okay? Because I understand that my father, my adoptive father, was actually a stronger person in character than I thought he was, when I really start thinking about that, okay? But on the other hand, there's a lot of sad parts about this too, you know what I mean? So whatever the case is, I don't know. I don't know what else I could tell you about this experiment other than it destroys a person mentally inside. You know what I mean? I will never trust another human being ever in my entire life. I will never do that. I've never had anybody I can trust. And then they set it up to where you're not going to ever trust anybody, because they make it so that no one can confirm what you're telling them. Okay, so that means that everybody that you're supposed to be close to can never be that close, because they're always going to lie to you. And so all your relationships are built on a lie. Seriously. So, I mean, maybe they don't think about these things, but they should. But then again, this is all done in the name of science. Maybe, I don't know, but I tell you, for the people who have to deal with it and go with it, or who are the subjects of it, I guess, or whatever, it's very disturbing. It's very disturbing. I mean, I've read about experiments done on other people before. There was this one movie about these triplets, and they ended up separating all of them. I watched the movie; it was really good. So I've heard about these things before, and I've also mentioned in my other video that I've always had an interest in the nature versus nurture thing. I always have. You know what I mean? I know people used to sit there and talk to me when I was a kid and say, you know, you don't remind me of your brothers and sisters. And then I would sit there and think, well, it made me think, okay, well, how much of our personalities are built on, you know, our environments, and how much of it is built on what goes through our blood, you know? So, but I found out, obviously, I'm not of their blood. So anyway, but I always had that interest in that subject matter. And I just never thought that I myself was one of those people who was experimented on. But it makes sense now. But I do get angry because of this. You know, I want to say this one more time. You know, I feel as though it is constantly, and I honestly think that this has happened in my past lives before, because I'm dealing with, like, petty behavior that I cannot stand. I don't like it. Like, I feel like they mess with my social media. I don't know. They do it because they always feel like they have to. I don't want to compete. I just want to survive. Is that too much to goddamn ask? Is it too much to fucking ask for me to say, is it okay if I make a living? Is it okay if I make a living and can see my numbers? Is it okay if I could sit here and try to make some plans and goals for myself? Because I will tell you, I don't want to have anything to do with, like, the main people who got involved in this. Like, you already know what you did. You already know how the experiment is, how it turned out, the outcome of it, what ends up being produced by by these kind of experiments, you already know that there's nothing else to know. Okay, I don't want my fucking social media fucked with. You know what I mean? And you're worried about me like finding out who's like signed up for my accounts. I'm not gonna sit here and go out of my way and contact these people. You know, I respect people's privacy. It's like it's always, I feel like I'm always being demoralized by these people's behavior, by what they always want to do, what they always want to be attached to me. So it's like, you know, I can't sit here and just like, you know, go out and earn a living and make a living without their having to be a part of it. And don't get me wrong, like I said, I love the fact that I have like, you know, all these people that are really dear to my heart, and they are so dear to my heart. I can't tell you how much I think this every day. Like, and I'm not like a celebrity person who, like, you know, like my mom always wanting to like star in the Inquirer and reading all about your personal business. There's just something about knowing that I've seen you guys, some of you guys, since I was a kid, off and on. And even when I was lonely as a kid, there were times where I imagined you guys like spending time with me. You know, like I would be really lonely and I would pretend that like I would hang out with Paul McCartney on like the swing sets at school. I know that's crazy, but whatever. It got me through, right? So yeah, you guys obviously have a meaning to me. But what bothers me is the fact that I don't know what I'm doing. And that's what makes me frustrated. I have to feel like I know what I'm doing in order to feel good about myself and in order to make plans and feel motivated to continue on. Like, how would you like it if you guys put out music and like you didn't know if it was being sold or not? You're like, okay, should I stay in the business or what the fuck should I do? It doesn't make sense, right? You want to know and see the results of your work, right? That's frustrating. And I get the feeling that these people, like, there's like this sickness. Only a sick person would fuck with somebody's head like that. So there, I mean, I do get the feeling that there's a lot of celebrities that support me. I have a lot of cool people in this like group that's like associated with me. But then I also have certain people who really fucking want to like put, you know, stick it to me for reasons I have fucking no idea. Just because I grew up into the way that I am who I am. You know what I mean? I wish I had no. And when I think about like the whole story behind this whole Prince thing, he can't be blamed for shit. He was just a kid. So I'm not going to take fucking responsibility. Don't sit here and say, well, it's because back in when you, whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know how petty these people go or how fucking far they want to take shit. But this is how I feel. You know what I mean? It is how I feel. You know what I mean? I have no interest in working a regular job. I don't want to work. I hardly fucking want to leave my house now. And you can't fucking blame me because what happened to a person, when you put people in these programs, it's not fucking normal. It's not fucking normal. Okay, it's not normal to sit here and have to and have people like, you know, follow you, stalk you, say things to you, imply things to you all the time, year after fucking year after year after year after year after year. People picking apart what you do, you know, talking about your hair, talking about your clothes, you know, just picking you apart every single time. I mean, it causes great anxiety, all kinds of agitation. It's not normal. Okay, so if you want to note down in your book about this experiment, talk about the psychological effects, and they're devastating. They're fucking devastating. So much so that I didn't want to deal with it again. Like, I wanted to hang up on the girl who called me, right? I mean, she was actually an older lady. I could tell by her voice she was an older lady. And she seemed, and I was being polite because I really wanted to do is hang up the phone on her face. I wanted to get off that conversation so bad. It's like, I really fucking hate even being reminded about having to go back to a regular job. I mean, it really was pissing me off because I was trying to get my video done today. And I got this phone call about this woman who wants to set up a video. And I understand the whole rigmarole. I have to do it. I'm on the state. I'm getting unemployment benefits. So I did it. But really, and it's like I said, I'm a very polite person. I understand she's got her job to do. But I, on the other hand, I feel guarded because I'm tired of the psychological abuse that I had to fucking deal with. You know what I mean? And I will never trust the workplace to not ever fucking do that shit again. You know, and I'm sorry if I'm using a lot of cuss words, but I'm so angry when I feel like I'm wasting time. You know, because I'm the kind of person, like, I'm really enthusiastic about the kind of work that I do. Like, I really like talking about the occult and teaching people, you know, expanding their minds and stuff like that. And I'm the kind of person I could like literally just be run on my own energy. You know, I'm very highly energized by myself. But when I have to deal with, looking at my YouTube numbers, and then I try to get myself some stability on Patreon, and then that's being fucked with, and then I'm always being fucked. Why am I being fucked with? Okay, you got your answers. I don't need to answer anything else. It is what it is. Okay. Yes, I'm a single woman. I just think I think this whole thing was just very disturbing, and I felt abused, or I'm feeling harassed every time I look at my numbers, and then feel like I feel like it's another form of abuse or some sort of bullying. You know what I mean? I want to see where I can just go on and move on from this and not have to have any reminder of it whatsoever. I don't think the fucking shitty numbers are funny, or people blocking my stuff. There's a lot of people who want to learn the occult, okay? And the occult is open to anybody. It's open to anybody's faith. It doesn't have anything to do with that. Okay, personally, if you really start looking at it, I mean, I'm talking about this whole issue in the gods, and I'm briefly touching on it because I really want you guys to be encouraged to look into it yourself. You'll start reading, you'll start realizing that just about everybody on this earth was meant to be practitioners of those arts. It's in us as human beings, okay? And I think it's good for people's lives to have some form of that in their life, you know what I mean? So yeah, anyway, that's what it is. I just wanted to come here and kind of express myself because I'm frustrated, you know what I mean? I don't feel like, when I really think about this issue, it's like, I hope you guys got the information that you needed, like what the effect is, what kind of outcome is likely to happen when you take someone from their, you take someone like me, okay? Because here's the thing, okay? We're talking about this as an experiment. It's an experiment to find out what happens when you take somebody of a certain kind of lineage, right, and put them in a setting of what would be considered like ordinary people. Okay, and what I mean by that, obviously my dad, royal blood too, but we lived like normal people. We don't live like royal people, okay? We lived like in a neighborhood. He worked a 9-to-5 job. My mom was a housewife. I went to school, public school, and all that other stuff. That could be what do you call it, an experiment in and of itself, or is it because it's like you're studying the fact that somebody has royal blood and they have a certain form of behavioral traits that is not just behavioral through bloodline, but it's also like a repeated type behavior that was developed because they are used to living a certain kind of, they're accustomed to living to a certain kind of life. Well, let's just say, for example, I have no idea, right? But let's just say, for example, somewhere in Egypt, I was accustomed to having people serve me, okay? Which I'm not. I'm not used to. I'm one of those self-serve type people. But like, I'm sure that would play a huge role in a person's life. There is a certain part of me, though, that I do know that I get really frustrated when people don't take my word, like, right when I tell them. Like, I personally have, like, this belief that I have a lot to contribute to, like, the medical industry, because I have these theories that I personally think should be researched, okay? And even though this sounds absurd, when I start hearing other thoughts, lines of thought about this, I start getting offended. And the reason why I get offended is because perhaps maybe at one time in my past life, I had a position where people took me seriously and it wasn't questioned. You know what I mean? Maybe I really always wonder, like, why do I always get so angry when people do this? Or maybe it has something to do with, there's a lot that can be learned from this study if you look at it from that standpoint. Like, because it's like, there's certain things that bug us, and we wonder why it does, and I mean, or we feel a little bit like, and I've never had a posh life. I've always had to do for myself, fend for myself, whatever. But there are certain things that I am kind of like, how dare you question me? And it's always been there, and that might come from that, that form of DNA or that sort of experience, understanding that. All my life, I've always been somebody who was like taken seriously, or somebody respected my word. And then I'm encountering people who, don't know me. So they're wondering, like, they're questioning me, and then I'm getting offended by it. Maybe that's one of the reasons why. Okay. I'm trying to figure this out too, because it is interesting. Okay. But the sad part is, you know, in my case, I feel as though it was a very sad situation. Like it was very, it was just, it blew my mind. It depressed me. And I think the after effects of it depressed me. And what bothers me is the fact that I'm going to call it harassment. Okay. You're fucking with my numbers on my channel. Okay. I'm not able to make a living without having to deal with some sort of go-between or this tag-along issue of somebody messing with my numbers or me not being able to get myself across, because I understand this entourage wants me for themselves. Like they want to keep me in a bubble. Now get this, I know that you guys talked about me getting married, which I don't want to get married. Okay, Maria's fine being single. I just want to live out the rest of my life doing some things that I want to do, and I want to hang out with my son, and then you know, when I'm done, I'll fucking kick the bucket, I guess. But anyway, I'm not interested in marriage. But here, I want to understand exactly how this like control freak thing goes, because like I have no interest in getting married. But what if I was a kind of person who wanted to marry a commoner? Like I wanted to marry just like somebody who delivers, I don't know, Uber Eats. Okay, and obviously I'm not into that, and but what if I did? What if I wanted to like do that? I'm going to be prevented from doing so. I'm in a bubble where I feel like I don't have freedom, and that really is just not cool. It's not fucking cool at all. You know what I mean? It's actually quite sad when I think about it. But don't get me wrong. Like I said, I love my Celebrity Soul Tribe. I totally do. But you know, it's just like, why? You know what I mean? Why? Why can't I move when I want to? I mean, what I mean by move when I want to is I'm trying to make a living. I'm trying to make a living without having to go back to work, without having to go back to the place that traumatized me year after year after year after year. And I'm sorry that I shouldn't even have to ask for that. I shouldn't have to fucking even ask for that. Like, could you get out of my fucking way? Is it, you know, why is that such a bad thing? You know, and I have no idea who I'm talking to, because I don't know who the head honcho is in all this, okay? And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I do think that this particular person who's the head honcho lacks empathy. Is not capable of understanding what it is a person needs to plan their life and make decisions. I need to make decisions. Could you please get out of my fucking way, please? Please. You know, it's not being rude. It's just the way it is. You know, I have a life to live, and I've got things I need to do. I'm already 52 years old, and when I think about how much of this time that was already taken, it's just like, holy shit. You know what I mean? I want to live. I want to live. Meaning, I want to live out the rest of my life not having to worry about being mobbed at my job. I want to live out the rest of my life and, you know, put out content and educate people and then answer questions. I want to have an interactive life. Like, I want people to leave comments on my channel. You know, I want to talk to other people. It's like, I haven't really had a conversation in a long time. Yes, I do sometimes have very high standards, okay? And I understand, you know, that doesn't mean that I don't want to have friends or have anyone to talk to, you know, but even that gets controlled. Even that gets controlled. So, you know, please, could you please, I don't know what the deal is. I will tell you that I'm speaking for Prince Alemehu. In his past life, he didn't like the shit that was going on in his life. He didn't like having to be in that situation. And I don't like being in this situation. Okay? It's funny, like, I know, like, there's certain people that I've dealt with in the past who always tried to make it look like I was cooperative or I was okay with whatever abuse was going to be given to me. And I know I've dealt with people like that a lot in my life, because they're so insensitive. It never crosses their mind that what they're doing is offensive, it's wrong, or whatever. So they try to make up some sort of narrative in their mind, like, oh, well, I helped you out or whatever, and they fucking just completely demolished you, right? I will tell you, and I'm going to set the record straight, it's not cool now, and it probably wasn't cool back in the 1800s of what happened to this kid. Okay? It's like, people really need to be a little bit more considerate and start being so goddamn narcissistic. You affect people's lives. Okay? And you've affected this person's life. He died early, like when he was 18 years old. I'm 52 years old. For most of my 52 years old, life, I have been in some sort of bubble that caused me nothing but problems. From childhood, from elementary school through high school, and it followed me throughout the workforce, and it's just been, it's too much, okay? Let me tell you the damage that you caused. You caused damage. Do you understand that now? Or is that the point? Maybe part of the experiment is like, oh, I wonder how much can she tolerate? What's her tolerance level? Okay, I'm sorry, I got interrupted. I'm back. I got some bad news. Apparently, one of our people that we know passed away, and it kind of shook me. But I'm gonna finish this video. You know, I guess I'm just expressing my frustration. You know, about how I feel. I feel cheated. I feel cheated in this. You know, I feel like it. I don't think. I don't know if this person realizes how much they ran over my life. And if they did, then they're malicious and it's evil intent. If they didn't realize it, I'm going to say then they're just ignorant. Okay. But I will tell you, nobody likes having people mess with their lives in that manner. It's not appreciated. I will never see the humor in it. I don't think it's funny. I don't even think it was necessary or even something that should have been done as part of the experiment. You know, I mean, Wiggs also, are you trying to notate? Are you trying to see how much you can piss somebody off, or try to demoralize somebody, or try to treat someone like they don't have any right to survive? And this is not me being disrespectful. Honest and truthfully, if you were in this situation, you would be thinking the same thing. It's normal. So you can write that in your little notebook too. File that away, okay, for this experiment. I understand that this causes a lot of problems, but I also understand the reason why people like me are created. I do understand that, you know, and I don't really want to go too much into it because I'm trying to live a very peaceful life, you know, but the playing around with my my numbers, the social blotting out, the, you know, that's a bit much. You know, it's a bit much. You know, I need to make decisions in my life, and you know, I'm trying to protect myself from further abuse. I mean, like, all I've ever dealt with was abuse. I don't know anything that's not abuse. That's not a joke. I really, everyone I've ever known has been something, you know, someone that I didn't really want to continue a long-term relationship with, meaning like the people that I used to know in school or whatever, the bullying went on and whatever. So I feel like I have to protect myself, and from people, like people I had to work with and all this other stuff. So yeah, I have my guards up, and rightfully so. Look what people are willing to do to other people. And when, you know, you feel as though an issue has been resolved, like, I honestly feel like I don't want to ever talk about the workplace again. I'm not fighting for, please give me a job. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just like, okay, well, I'm going to try to find something on my own. Okay, I don't want to deal with the petty bullshit. I didn't want to be a part of a competition for my life in the first place. But it almost seems like this whole issue seems like some sort of power play carried over from a past life. Because I will tell you, if this is true relating to this past life, this, you know, this little prince, you know, I don't think he basically just wanted to do his own thing and have his own life. That's it. And I know that he was prevented from it. People kept him around and wanted him to stick around and do things that he had no desire to do. And I honestly feel as though his unresolved or unsatisfied desires obviously carried over into this life. And then I'm dealing with the same sort of mindset of people around me. You know what I mean? Like, I would say Karen would probably be the equivalent of, you know, what my what my past life was like. Meaning, you know, I don't think she realizes the damage. I'm not trying to be mean or anything. You got to understand from my perspective what it's like to never be able to have a decent job where you feel like you're comfortable and you can really settle down. Or how is it to you work a job and you make a decent amount of money, but you're never ever able to settle into the job and keep a job so that you can have any sort of growth. You're always dealing with bullying in the workplace. You're always dealing with moving on to something else. You never have stability. I have never been stable in my entire life because of a fucked up system. a workplace environment that cannot correct itself because we have animalistic behavior and people tolerate it. Seriously. So, you know, I don't think, and this is not me being disrespectful by any means. There is nothing that I can say that would not be inappropriate because of everything that's happened to me. I feel completely justified in what I'm saying, and I'll be damned if somebody tells me I'm not. I'm not the kind of person who makes waves. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you, you know, and if in the future, because I honestly know, I pretty much believe that this particular type experiment will be continued on in some form or whatever. That's your own issue. I don't want to know about it. But I will say, you know, there's got to be some other alternative besides, the secrecy and having it set up to where people can only know false environments. They cannot have true friendships. You know what I mean? Like, I knew kids that I grew up that were adopted, and their parents told them, hey, you know what? You're adopted. At least that gave them something to go off of. You know what I mean? Like, it's like there's got to be a better way to where you don't shake up. Because if there's this good chance that a person such as myself found out what this was really about and that it was an experiment, and then now I'm someone who is just completely devastated. And then it's made me so where I don't trust anybody, because if somebody's going to bully somebody who's adopted and be told to bully somebody who's adopted and goes along with it, what the fuck is wrong with that person? You know what I mean? So I've never been around anyone decent. I've never been around anyone decent. This is the truth. So, I mean, I'm speaking my truth. You know what I mean? Anyway, today was kind of a waste of a day. I want to see better results in my life and my growth. I mean, I've got things to do. I'm 52 years old. Please don't suck up one more minute of my life. I can't deal with it. And, I'm very glad that I do have the people that I do care around me, who's watching me, supporting me. Please don't take any offense to what I'm saying. It's not you. It's just the fact that I deal with so much of this narcissism, or either somebody's being really thoughtless. I don't know how you can be thoughtless after like making almost like 8 years of videos telling people how I feel, telling what's appropriate, setting boundaries, and these people overstep them anyway. Yeah, it's a bit much. It's really a bit much. I think I've really been good throughout this entire thing. What I mean by that is I've been good at piecing it together. I've been good at revealing exactly what was going on. And actually, if you watch my very first video on my Maria Gordon channel, I talk about, because at the time I kept thinking it was just like a family issue. And I really don't want to go too much into anything. I don't want to say things and get people pissed off or think that I'm not the kind of person who ever wants to stir up trouble. I want to keep a low profile. I was angry that I thought originally that it was just my ex-family members who were coming around starting problems for me. I didn't realize it was just like this whole experiment thing, and this is what this whole thing is about. And then I wasn't even their real sibling, and just all this other. I had no idea it went that deep. I seriously just thought it was a family matter that was just unresolved with just whatever. But they were a part of it, and they were wicked too. You know what I mean? It was just the whole thing. It blew my mind. You know what I mean? But hopefully there's a way that this experiment can be conducted in a more humane way in the future, so where people don't have to be hurt. I mean, there's got to be a way that can be done, because I will tell you, there's no way in the world you could avoid that sort of hurt, that sort of pain, and that sort of I don't know, I can't even describe what it first felt like. What it first felt like, it was just like my mind was blown, and I felt scared, because it's think that my father wasn't my real blood father, because he was the man that I loved all my life. You know what I mean? But now I'm okay. I'm fine with it, meaning I feel as though he was a good person. He was human, mind you, but he was good. He actually came back for me in this weird reincarnation loop or whatever. But anyway, I'm going to get off here. I'm feeling a little down about hearing about the death of this person. So I'm just going to go back and try to get my head on straight. But you know, when I'm expressing myself, you have to understand from my standpoint. And if you can't understand from my standpoint, I really don't fucking know what to tell you. I really have no idea what to tell you. But I feel like I've been run over. I feel like I've had, you know, like somebody just really took too much liberty and just really did not consider me a human being and just literally walked over me and took my life. And I want my life now. I want my life now. You know. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap up this video. I'll be back with another video sometime later. Hopefully, I will get back to working on the gods. And I've got a couple other videos that I want to do and post on my Patreon channel. I'm hoping that Patreon will be supported. It's been causing me a lot of stress because, you know, I feel like I don't like people taking my life and trivializing it and thinking that it's okay to play with something like that. It's not something to play with. Okay? I have a right to make a living. Could you please stop your bullshit? Okay? And I'm going to wrap up this video. I got to go. Take care. Bye.